Well, welcome back to Nick's Fear. On episode 8 of the Countdown 2 podcast, I'm back again with my boy Keenan from Red Talk TV to discuss all things happening in the Premier League before I spin off by myself and discuss the NFL divisional round games. I got my Pat Mahomes jersey on, so you know what time it is, bro. This guy showed out before he got hurt, but yeah, that's for later. So yeah, Key, bro, what you say? You good?
Yeah, I'm blessed, man. I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. I know you don't watch the NFL, but there's some massive NFL games yesterday, bro. My team pulled it out last minute. It was crazy. Okay, the backup geese are coming in. It's like, how can I compare it, man? It's like Bruno Fernandes, yeah, getting injured in the Champions League quarterfinals, and then Mata comes in and scores a free kick or something like that. It's like the
Master
backup
the pensioner.
from bits. It's crazy. I couldn't believe it, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, talking about United, talking about Bruno, yesterday's game, so United against Liverpool at Anfield, there was like, everyone was looking forward to that. Sky was building that up the whole week. And it was a snore fest, man. What happened?
Yeah, the snore fest, to be honest. I think the selection at the start shocked everybody. Like, Sky made it out to be this massive game all week, and then finally pulls off a selection like that. I mean, if you got a team that's got no central defenders, you'd like you start your big guns up top, and you'll start Cavani, which is our big gun. He's our biggest gun, should I say? But he's on the bench. Fair play to Lindelof. He had a good game, Lindelof and Maguire, but Bailly should have started. You know, there's nothing that warrants Bailly being on the bench. But I thought it was a snowfest myself, man. And we've got to talk about MBE at some point because he's doing my head in, man. He's doing my head in. The game was just a big snowfest for me, and I do think both teams had their chances to take 3 points, but there was just so.
Pogba had a big chance, though.
Yeah, big chance, man. You know, he should have done. I don't know if you saw the goal, but Maddison's goal, where he just roofed the net this weekend.
Yeah.
If Pogba done the same, Pogba done the same, then we'd probably walk away with 3 points. But it wasn't to be, I think, man. I felt a draw was a fair score, to be honest, right, for both teams.
You make a good point, you know, about the selection, because Liverpool, as soon as I saw the team sheet, I was like, Liverpool got 2 centre midfielders at centre back, but Liverpool had most of the possession and they dictated the game. It was, you know what, I can't criticise it too much because a point at Anfield is never a bad point, you know, no matter what form they're in, especially Liverpool these days. These days they're pretty good, so, and Anfield is always a tough place to go, man. But yeah, we've been raving Bruno, been talking up his name. And then, Twitter was having a field day yesterday. Twitter was going mad.
Yeah.
Did you see that, the Go.com tweet that they put out? So it says, I've got it up here with me. So Bruno Fernandes against the Premier League Big Six in 2021, 6 matches, 1 goal, a penalty, and that was against us when we beat you 6-1. 0 assists. And bro, that's got 4K retweets, 23K likes. Mental. Where was Bruno? He did ghost a bit though after a good season.
Yeah, I don't know where it was, man. Ozil at his finest, man. If I had to rate Bruno yesterday, I'll give him a 2, bro. I'll give him a 2, and you know what it is with Bruno, that why he's playing so much? Because Ollie's back's up against the wall, and there's only there's 11 players he can trust in it, so he's got to play those 11 players no matter what. That's why we're seeing out of form Martial start, seeing out of form Rashford start. Maguire, he just won't. He just can't get dropped, obviously, because of the price tag and everything else. Fred and McTominay, they're the guys he trusts in it, and sometimes they pull off results for him, or they have done. So like they're not going to get dropped in it. And when Bruno's pulling off 2 out of 10s, he's just not going to get subbed off. And if he does get subbed off, he gets subbed off in the 85th minute or something like that. Like what he did yesterday, I'm not quite sure what minute it was, but poor from him, man.
I'll be honest, yeah, when it comes to Bruno, I think a lot of this criticism is from jealous rival fans. Bruno has been the best player in the Premier League this season. And this is coming from a Tottenham fan. You could easily say Kane or Son's been the best player this season. But it's definitely been Bruno, bro. He's taken leaps and bounds to top of the league. And he has one bad game in every so often. And obviously, especially Liverpool fans, fucking City fans, everybody shouldn't think that he's not like say, he doesn't come up in big games, but you can't win every single game, especially a game like yesterday when you say about the selection, you make a good point where you should be bossing that game when they haven't got no like proper defenders. But yeah, but like I seen for the minute it kicked off, you could tell Thiago was going to control it, and then he did control it. He was the best player on the pitch for large parts of the game. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I can't just single out Bruno. Bruno for me, I still say Bruno's still better than De Bruyne, and it just is what it is, isn't it? Like you can't expect dropping out these gems every single game. You can't do that for like peak Messi, peak Ronaldo, where week in week out, you know for a fact they're going to turn up. But players get a pass. You didn't lose the game. You got the draw. You got to move on. You guys, you shouldn't be unhappy. I know it feels like a missed chance, especially with Liverpool's lineup, but you shouldn't be unsatisfied with a point at Anfield because we could have got a point at Anfield, but we lost. So shit like that happens, but that's a point that in many seasons that you don't get. So it's going to take that and move on. But now with your points dropped, actually, Man City out of nowhere, bro. I thought these were done after we beat them in November. But since November, they haven't lost a single game. And if they win their game in hand, they'll go top of the league by a point. It's just crazy. The Premier League table at the minute is looking mental. So yesterday, they won 4-0 against Crystal Palace. I saw Raheem Sterling scoring 3 kicks. It was just like, it was nuts. They're looking like they could be back up there. They fixed their
defense. They're looking sick, man, I'll be honest. Pep sort of start changing his style in a way, and I mean, it's the same sort of pedigree, but like the foundations are still the same. But I think with the players he's got now, like Ruben Diaz and whatnot, they're actually players he wanted. For me, he's probably the defender of the year, maybe, or he's in that team of the year as the 2 centre backs. But they're looking good, man, and obviously it's scary how they haven't lost since November and win their game in hand, the top of the league. And when City go top, we know what that means, and they just don't look good. Like they don't drop points, man.
Yeah, a very good front runner, but I don't know. Still, but to me, they still feel vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like we've got them in the Carabao Cup final, and I'm not going into that thinking we can't win. You know, like if it was City or 2017, 2018, you're like, oh fuck it, no point even playing. They'll just beat us, but still. But now they ain't got that invincibility anymore. But if you look at their form table, they're winning games or drawing at the very worst.
You know, it's mad as well. They're doing it without a recognised striker, bro. Like, I know Jesus started yesterday, but you know, you got Aguero who I don't know if he was isolating or whatnot yesterday, but I know he was at home.
He might not come back for the season. I saw somewhere. I think in Sky, but
they're doing it without him. You know, Jesus starts here and there, and then they start De Bruyne or Mars or Sterling up top. Like, can't give Pep credit, man. He's just a class manager, and it like whatever he touches turns to gold, man. I hate to say it as a United fan.
No. And not far behind City, actually, Spurs. My guys, I don't know where to start with Spurs. I don't know whether to look at the Fulham result a few days ago or just ignore that and start with yesterday's game. Because yesterday's game we looked good, but we was playing Sheffield United and they're terrible. They've probably had one of the worst starts to the Prem. The 11 points adrift of safety, yeah, and the teams above them have all got games in hand over them. So they're as good as down, really.
It's peak.
I doubt they're going to come back, yeah. There's no way. They can't score goals. They can't defend. If you can't go forward, you can't defend. Nothing going for you. Yeah. But anyway, with Spurs, the Fulham result last week, midweek, that pissed me off. It was the most angry I've been at a game in a while. Probably not since the Champions League final, bro. Not that bad. Not since the Champions League final.
But what was it about that Fulham game? Like, when I was watching it, I was thinking, like, at half time, I was thinking, okay, you'll go in there and Mourinho would have a word with one or two players, like, he'll get them going and he'll get them firing. But like the second half, bro, I was just like, Mourinho, do something, man. Like,
bro, that's the worst part. You could see it happening in front of you. You're like, oh my days, this is Wolverhampton, this is Crystal Palace, this is what other games we've lost? Drew like 5 different games. So West Ham, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Wolves, obviously Fulham. There's a few more to name where we just like lost leads because of Mourinho's stupid tactics. First off, we're playing so well. Fucking Reguilon was a threat in behind. And then about halfway through, they just stopped going to him and they kept going down to Sissoko and Ori on the right. And why Sissoko starting, against Fulham at right mid? That's another subject. I just didn't understand. It made no sense. He started with like 5 centre midfielders. But that's fine. Because we was playing well. And in the second half, as soon as the second half kicked off, Scott Parker made his changes, he adjusted. The overlap from Reguilon wasn't there anymore. And literally, about 55 minutes, 60 minutes, he brought an Ademola Lookman. And they're just peppering our goal, bro. I'm thinking, Mourinho, make a change, man. And he's just sitting there waiting. And then we concede. And then he brings up Eric Lamela, who's been out for like 4 months. So you got Gareth Bale. Why did we sign Bale? And it's just a PR stunt.
Yeah, PR. What do you reckon, bro? Like, with Gareth Bale, I saw on I think it was this afternoon, one of them. Gareth Bale, he's not staying, or Mourinho's not looking to enter talks with him staying after his loan, like making it permanent. What do you make of the whole thing, bro?
Yeah, bro. Mourinho just made up the whole thing. He'd done it in the goal. And he's walking in that, and he just thought, let's get Bale in and just sit him on the bench. Well, what's the point? The chances gave him in the Premier League. He brought him on around 60th minute against Brighton, and he won us that game. He literally scored the winner, like in the 80th minute or something like that, and he won us that game. Since then, he's only got one. The only one Premier League start I can remember off the top of my head is against West Brom. He was pretty poor that game. But everybody was poor. We won him 1-0 with a late Kane header. But regardless, he should be getting way more chance. He should be ahead of Sissoko in terms of right mid, pecking order. I don't care if he's hobbled. I don't care if he's got one hamstring, bro. I don't care. He's better than Sissoko on the right field. That just baffled me.
He never started that Marine game, did he?
Huh?
He never started that Marine game, did he? Kane?
No, Bale didn't start. No. It was. I know it was that Vinicius and Lucas starting. I can't remember who was in the left. Yeah. It wasn't Bale. It wasn't Bale, innit? But anyway, that brings us back to the Sheffield game. We went 3 at the back and we put in Roldan instead of a further attacking player. That confused me again. I'm like, you're playing probably the worst team in the league and you're setting up with 5 at the back. Because Mourinho's 3 at the back is not 3 at the back, it's 5 at the back. There's no way guy is not going through at the back. But just in terms of individual quality, I don't know if you saw the goals, and Dombele's got a sick goal.
Yeah, I saw that goal.
Like,
That
flicks
boy
it.
goal.
Yeah, and that's how it's fun. There's loops over the keeper, and then Kane scored, just blasted it from 25 yards out, bottom corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, we played. I don't even say we played well. It's too hard to even say that we played well, but we've done enough. And our individual quality against a poor Sheffield side just told that was pretty much it. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm still not optimistic about about our season, but we'll see. I mean, we're still in every competition, so yeah.
Best striker in the world, by the way. Just to finish on that one, Kane for me, he has to be, man. I know Lewandowski's out there doing like complete madness and whatnot. His 2020 year, he was just sick, and he like literally won everything but the Ballon d'Or. But for me, like the streets knowing it, Kane is like the world's best like striker for me, man. She's too sick, too sick.
Doing it for a while now as well, man.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just to finish up in the Prem, really. So is Chelsea back to winning ways? Currently, I think Arsenal have just won 3-0 against Newcastle, so they seem to be back on it up. And yeah, it looks sooner rather than later, let's say about March, the top 6 will probably be back in their normal order, plus Leicester, wherever they're going to fall into, because they'll probably still be around. Yeah, so it looks like we're getting back to normal, really. The league's time to shake out again.
Yeah, Leicester looking dangerous, man. They're not dropping points, are they? And they've got some good players as well. Leicester, I think, if they continue to just keep winning how they are winning, and if they do drop out of Europa League early, because I know the big guns are in Europa League now, if they do drop out, then they could actually just go for it, like they can just put all their focus and energy on the Premier League. And I think, like, I don't think they'll win it, but they can put a charge on you, their pressure for us, you know what I mean? The pressure for United, the pressure for Tottenham, the pressure for City and Liverpool, like, they're just that team that keeps on winning and they play good football, man.
They've got good players, Leicester, but the Prem just a bit of a mess, and even though it's starting to shake back up. So as well, somewhere that if Villa win their games in hand, I think they've got like 2 or 3 games in hand, they'll go top of the league. Not top of the league, sorry, they'll go 1 point off top, and they'll go second in the league. That's Aston Villa, but I know their games in hand are quite tough. We've got them as one of their games in hand, and I think they've got City as well. But yeah, it's just the Prem just a bit of a madness in a minute.
I agree. This is going to be up for that.
But yeah. Cool. Anyway, Key, bro, thanks for coming through, man. As always, we'll talk again next week. Just discuss the Prem and what's happening. And we're back. Thanks for sticking around. Episode 8 of the Countdown 2 podcast. In this section, I'll be talking about the NFL playoffs and who I think is going to represent the NFC and the AFC in the Super Bowl. But first of all, let's have a look at the AFC divisional round playoff games. So first off, I'm going to start with my Chiefs, and I'm going to start on a sad note, actually. 1-5 actually ended up getting injured and ended up getting kicked out of the game against the Browns for concussion protocol. So Mahomes was cooking, man. He was splitting up the defense and was looking really good. The Chiefs were driving up and down. If I remember correctly, since the start of the game, every time he drove the ball, he had got them in a position where they should be getting points. So he got 2 touchdowns, there was 2 field goals and a missed field goal. And on the possession he got injured on, they were actually driving. They were in the Cleveland Browns half and they were up 19-10. And it was really an awkward play where he got kind of dragged down as he was going along trying to get a 4th and 1. And yeah, the guy, bro, no, the 3rd and 1, sorry, the 3rd and inches. So yeah, and the Cleveland defender just pulled him down and yeah, he looked dazed. He came up, he was seeing stars. So yeah, he went out. And then the FC divisional round game was on the shoulders of the backup. As I was telling Keenan earlier, this was Juan Mata coming in for Bruno Fernandes, and Mata scoring the game-winning free kick pretty much, or just doing enough to make sure his team doesn't lose. And so after he made a few good plays, and he threw an awful pick. I do not know who he was throwing to. I completely lost my mind when he decided to step back and throw it into the end zone, throw it absolutely to a Cleveland Browns defensive back, really. And so he got picked off, and then the defense stepped up. The defense stepped up massively. I've got to credit Chris Jones and Tyrann Mathieu so much for their effort, for their play throughout that whole game. Especially once Mahomes went out, the whole Chief fan base were fearing for the worst, and rightly so, because Chad Henne did not seem like he could move the football to a point where they could score a touchdown. But yeah, the defense came up clutch, and after Chad Henne's turnover, Baker Mayfield had a chance to drive the Cleveland Browns back into the KC half and score a touchdown and take the lead with less than 5 minutes left on the clock. But Chris Jones, the Pro Bowler that he is, got a big paw, was disrupting plays really, and yeah, the defense held up and got the ball back for the Chiefs. So again, it was Chad Henne, made some plays. The Williams, the running back as well, was making some plays as well. Much like the Williams from last year as well. Like Darren Williams from last year. But yeah, so pretty much the game came down to a third down where Chad Henne was third and miles away. I think third and 18 if I remember correctly. So shotgun formation, 5 wide, and everybody just sprinted to the goal line, and the whole Cleveland Brown defensive backs follow him, and then Chad Henne, he pulled it down. Me as a Chief fan, rooting for the Chiefs in a minute, I was like, oh my God, he's about to get sacked. He's actually running for he's actually going to try and run for the first down. He's doing it. He's done it. And then, the referees, obviously, they shut that down. It was first and inches, and then Andy Reid, with the balls of steel, he runs a play that he would only run for Patrick Mahomes for his backup QB, and he ends up pulling it off. It was just crazy. It was crazy thoughts. It was crazy scenes. And I've done a bad job of explaining that whole game, but it was just all an emotion. I remember just cheering here, there and there. But what a time to be alive. That's what's made me get into the NFL. Moments like that where it's 4th and 1, third down, the feeling heightened, with a game like football, or say soccer in America, whatever. It's so things like that just happen in a click, whereas in the NFL there's anticipation, there's like it builds up, and there's like this massive ball of pressure, massive ball of anticipation and nervousness that just builds up to one moment. And it's just what makes the game, for me, that's what makes the game fun. And to move on to their opponents who they'll be facing in the AFC Championship, it's going to be the Buffalo Bills. So embarrassingly, I had the Buffalo Bills going out in the first round to the Indianapolis Colts. And so in that first round, they struggled. In this second one, not so much. It was a bit of a boring game. They're coming up against the Ravens, who mainly run the ball, and they historically throughout the season they've struggled defending the run, but in this game they've done really well. They've done really well in defending the run and limiting Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson had 3 points in the first half, and in the end zone just after Buffalo had got a touchdown to go 10-3 up, they picked Lamar Jackson off in the end zone, his first pick of his career. And again, this is what I was saying before about Lamar Jackson. For me, he's the Giannis Antetokounmpo of the NFL. So, in the regular season, like Giannis, he'll get you all of these points. He'll look fantastic, win MVP. He might even go on to win multiple MVPs. But once you nail down, you've got a whole week to just not focus about anything apart from this playoff game. you can shut him down because he can't throw the ball, just as Giannis Antetokounmpo can't hit jumpers. So they're very one-dimensional and it's easy to stop them. And Lamar Jackson ended up with a 55 QBR rating. That's taking into account his excellent plays with his legs. So yeah, if you were just to take away his legs and just focus on his arm, focus on his throwing just for that game, he would have been much lower than 55 QBR. And that's out of 100 as well, just rating you of your performance really of 1 to 100. And it takes into account all the throws, runs, smart plays, etc. Just how good you was as a quarterback. So it's your quarterback rating. But yeah, to move on, I don't want to dwell too much on the Ravens who are going home. I want to focus on the Buffalo Bills who are going to be in their first AFC Championship game since 1993. Josh Allen showed great poise and he led this team all season. And I didn't trust him in the big moments, but this season he seems to have learned from his performance last season against the Houston Texans. And not only did he dominate the AFC East, a division that was dominated for many years by Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, he also carried on this form into the postseason and has done enough because he's the only one running the ball for the whole team, as well as throwing it 40, 50 times a game sometimes. So yeah, congrats to Bills Mafia and congrats to Josh Allen. So over to the NFC now, and the first game was the Packers against the Rams. So yeah, the Packers, man, literally them and the Chiefs, the way they picked up from the regular season, it was like nothing had happened. It just seemed like they didn't have a bye week. Aaron Rodgers looked like the MVP. He had a really, really good game. And the whole narrative around this game was the league's best defense against the league's hottest team, pretty much. And the Packers just looked dominant from start to finish. Even Jared Goff, who was a real scare for the Rams, so they were scared of their own quarterback. But yeah, gosh, he was injured, and he had a really good game. But Aaron Donald struggled. He had broken ribs, and you could tell he had broken ribs. It just wasn't his usual self. But for me, what I was watching closely was the matchup between Devontae Adams and Jalen Ramsey. Adams just completely cooked him. Adams was a better player, and then for me, the one play, that told the story of the whole game was Adams ran a quick slant. This was on his touchdown and got the ball. Or it might have been an in route, one of the two, and he got the ball and he literally just burst past Ramsey, and then Ramsey just like, whoa, what just happened? And he's trying to blame his teammates, trying to say he should have passed it on, etc., etc. But it didn't matter. Basically, that signified to me that the Packers were here and they meant business. They were a step quicker, a step sharper. And every time they drove the ball, it just seemed like they were going to score. Rodgers makes the game look easy. Like, the flick of the wrist is so pretty to watch. And yeah, it just looks effortlessly. Sometimes it looks like he's playing in slow motion. But yeah. And their opponents in the NFC Championship game are going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that game, bro, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, NFC Championship final, and they've both got weapons. They've got a history. So the two best players, of their generation. Yeah, it's going to be some game. But just to quickly touch upon the other NFC divisional round game before I head on to my NFC Championship and AFC Championship predictions. The New Orleans Saints had a real chance to go through here. They'd beaten the Buccaneers twice already this season, but Drew Brees threw 2 interceptions and also got a fumble in the game, and that cost them. It was a game of turnovers. Neither quarterback were that good. They're both under 200 yards, but Tom Brady, the goal, he was mistake free, and that's what mattered really, because his defense. They didn't really bail him out, but they took over the game, I should say, and they made the key plays that needed to be made on that side of the football. whereas the New Orleans Saints didn't. I mean, Tom Brady tried to give him a few, but they just didn't come down with one. If I remember correctly, Brady threw a bad ball to the far right side, and the can't remember what player it was, but it was a New Orleans Saints defensive back. He caught it, but this is where you tell the difference between the wide receivers and the defensive backs. Because if a wide receiver catches that ball, as you know what I'm talking about, he brings it in and he tiptoes across and he tiptoes just before the line. So on review, you can tell that he stayed in bounds. But defensive back is not as skilled, is not as technical with his feet. He just literally takes one step and then the other step is out of bounds. So, bam, the referee waves it off. And yeah, that was all she wrote pretty much. I'm glad the Buccaneers went through. It's a much better matchup in my opinion. It's going to be a much better game to see between the Bucs and the Packers because both of them can score. If the Saints were in there, you would have felt there was blowout potential where they could get overwhelmed and lose, especially in that freezing cold. You don't want to subject 42-year-old Drew Brees up there. So yeah, I'm glad it is the way it is. And yeah, let me stick with the NFC Championship game. So the Bucs against the Packers. I thought really hard and long about this. And yeah, I've got to favour the Bucs. For me, even though actually my original bracket picking, these did come together, didn't they? They faced each other in this divisional round. So the way that my bracket would have went, I would have had the Bucs and the Packers playing each other in the NFC divisional round, and I had the Packers going through and losing to the Seattle Seahawks, which obviously isn't going to happen. But this time, I just like the Bucs' momentum. Since like weeks 15 or 16, they had a bye around there. But straight after their bye, they've been on fire. They've been rolling. Tom Brady's the goal, and he's got all of these weapons. And it's Brady against Rodgers in the cold. But Brady's been there before. New England is not exactly hot. And yeah, I think it's going to be really close. And I fancy, I'm going to say 27-20 Buccaneers. So quite a comprehensive victory because they'll dial up their pressure as they usually do, and they could get home. For me, the biggest key stopping the Packers, you just have to stop their running game, and because Rodgers gets quite a lot off that running game, so he gets good play action because Aaron Jones is running the ball well, and as long as you do that well, you've got one step. You're one step there, pretty much. One step there is because you limit that play action. But I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is some sort of Ryan Tannehill where you can only play on play action. I mean, if you ask him to beat, this is where they have to be careful. If you ask him to beat you, as in throw it deep, he will do that. He will do that, and he will do that pretty easily. This is Aaron Rodgers. Of course, they know what he represents. I don't need to tell them. They know that themselves. And it's up to the defense to try and limit him as much as possible. But I'm pretty sure the way that Jared Goff looked against the Packers offensively, he looked quite comfortable and he looked in the flow. And with Leonard Fournette running, and even Brady getting his own play action actually, Anthony, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Gronk, he's got weapons on his side too. He's probably got more weapons than Aaron Rodgers. And yeah, and I just fancy him to edge it out really. Which takes us to who their Super Bowl opponents would be. And I've said it the whole along, said it the whole season. I'm going to stick to it. I think it's going to be the Chiefs. This has got an asterisk. It's got a caveat with Patrick Mahomes needs to be back. Because if he's not back, the Bills could definitely, I'll probably make them favourites to go through. But I'm assuming Patrick Mahomes is going to be back because he's walking again. 15. Come back. We need you. We want to see you in this game. The whole world wants to see you. But yeah, in this NFC Championship game, I've got the Chiefs coming out. Again, it seems like some recycled take, but it's experience. They've been here before. And watching the Chiefs yesterday, with Mahomes on the pitch, when they were driving, it looked effortless. They looked like, as somebody said earlier today that I was watching, it looked like they had the answers to the test before the test came. Of course, it's good. It's good coaching, but it's also just good individual talent. I mean, who's going to match up with Travis Kelce? Who's going to match up with Tyreek Hill on the outside? I mean, we've seen this game before as well recently, where McDermott, the Buffalo Bills head coach, pretty much copied the Patriots' game plan from a few weeks before, whereas they'll all drop deep and they'll give them the run or the down low passes, which the Chiefs will take. Williams is running the ball well. Le'Veon Bell still here and there, but yeah, Williams is running the ball well, and their reverses, their jet sweeps, they're always liable to get big yards as well. So yeah, with Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill running them. Hopefully Sammy Watkins as well is back for that game. A player they didn't have for the last game, but they were still just performing so well offensively. And yeah, so if you're going to give them the run, they'll take it with the different combinations they've got in the backfield. And if you're going to give them that short pass, Travis Kelce will get that and he'll rack him up. He'll just run through your bodies, as you saw for his touchdown against the Cleveland Browns. But yeah, so yeah, in my Super Bowl, I've got the youngster, the potential future GOAT, Patrick Mahomes, against the actual GOAT, Tom Brady, in a rematch of a game that we saw a few weeks ago that the Chiefs actually dominated them. But yeah, that will be an excellent Super Bowl, having it in Tampa again as well. Yeah, it would just be a great end to the season, yeah. So that's it for episode 8 of the Countdown 2 podcast. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify under the podcast stream, Nixia Media. Also, don't forget to check out nixiamedia.com, where blog posts about the new look Brooklyn Nets will be coming out soon.